What is going on, everybody? We have 11 minutes of gameplay of Wuthering Waves by IGN. As you guys can see, I had just watched this. However, that footage got corrupted due to some audio issues. So I am going to rewatch it here and specifically go over some areas that I noticed initially that I think were pretty interesting. So right off the bat, right, you realize immediately that the combat looks great. And then you see them go pick some berries here, which is very Genshin-like, right? In fact, throughout this whole video, you will notice lots and lots of similarities of the open world exploration in Genshin to Wuthering Waves, which is, you know, obviously that's the competitor to beat, so kind of makes sense. And then just here, I believe, go into a time trial, which is also very similar to Genshin, but it's a obviously you got to do a certain or collect a certain amount of things within a certain amount of time, at the end of which you will get a chest. And of course, this looks very similar. We have glide here. We also saw a dive just earlier, a diving attack. Now this is new, the wall running. I think it's essentially just how you would climb in most other gacha RPGs, except rather than climbing, they let you run up the wall, which is pretty cool. At this point, I also noticed that this character's hair is half of it is feathers, which I thought was pretty intriguing and interesting. And then here, the character goes on to solve a puzzle. Uses what we would know as like elemental vision, basically. This tool allows her to see objects that are obviously hidden. Solve the puzzle, hit all three, she gets a chest, so on and so forth. Okay, very similar to Genshin thus far. Then she solves a couple more puzzles, but then jumps into some combat with Chixia. Now this character, redhead gun shooter, and I don't know if you guys remember the character in Tower of Fantasy who also had dual pistols, and but you'll see very similar combat style to Chixia and that Tower of Fantasy character. Combat looks great, and then you'll notice that wolf there that just popped out, and that And then interestingly enough, this is where we find out that every character has a summon. So the wolf and the pterodactyl looking beast we saw earlier were actually summons assigned to each of these characters. And you'll see them go into a menu here and assign a different summon, right? So you go here, that's the wolf that character summoned. This giant lizard thing that she just killed is now available as a summon and assigns it to this character. Boom, right? So interesting. So like that immediately begs the question, well, for me anyway, is can these summons help you other than just in combat, right? Can they help you in open world scenarios? And you guys will find out as we go through the video that they can help you in open world scenarios, whether it's traverse terrain or things like this. So that's a nice, interesting addition to a gacha RPG as far as I'm concerned. Every character can have their own individual summon, can help you in certain scenarios, and I like that. I'm a fan. Also, I did point out, and I never came up with an answer for this, but obviously Q here is their skill. R, I believe, is their ultimate. And then I never found out what this little fill up a bar thing is here, because I did confirm that it's not the ultimate because they swapped to a character here. They have the ultimate active, but this bar is not full. So I'm unaware of what this is. If any of you guys know, please let me know. And then also this bar above here, above the health, I still don't know what that is either. You can see that the bar, it does change per character.
Something you need? need?
So some more open world exploration here, collecting butterflies, things like this. Now, this was pretty interesting. This is, I mean, it's really just cool animations and a way to solve a puzzle is you carry over this crystal and throw it really hard at this. Then we get into some combat, a PGR dodge here. I mean, the combat looks great. This character looks awesome too. After killing that monster then kind of drops itself and then becomes available as a summon, as you guys will see here. And this particular summon can help you in an open world scenario, which looks like this.
I resonate with winds.
Right, so immediately you think, oh, okay, this can help you break down walls and things like this. So that does tell you that these summons can help you in more than just one way, like in more than in just combat, right? Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this bar does fill up and then it gives you your ultimate. Maybe I was wrong. Okay, then we fight some crownless here. Get some nice looking combat. I mean, it really does look good. Chixia is a cool character. She looks pretty enjoyable to play. Not only that, but her aesthetic looks great as well. By the way, I'd like to point out, look at the water. Look at the water here. It's pretty realistic. Very nice reflections on it, and you know, it's something about the gameplay that stood out to me initially. Like, look at the water. The water itself looks like it should belong in another game because we're looking at anime characters here, and even if you see her walk through the water, you get these kind of effects around her ankles and stuff when she moves, and that effect looks more cartoonish. That effect looks like, right there, that looks like it fits in the game, but this water doesn't. Either way, it looks very appealing. Here she just goes through a couple of emotes and things like this. Here we get a mini boss, right? Which, some pretty good gameplay. Oh yeah, and swaps to a character, Xian. Awesome looking character. He's very, and I hate to make the comparison, but he does, and I'm sure he will remind you guys too. He reminds me of Zhao, and I'm sure you guys will feel the same. Right? His color aesthetic for one, but then his fighting style on top of that.
Strike the unprepared.
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, this bar isn't full, but he does have his ultimate over here in the corner. I would like to point out Xian's skill coming up here, because he turns into like a beast. Look at this thing. Kind of shadow stepping all over the place, attacking. I mean, the game looks fucking... The combat looks so good. It really does look good. And it's like, realistically, it's a combination of PGR and Genshin is what it looks like to me. And, you know, if it plays exactly like what we're watching here, this game's going to kick ass. This game is going to be the shit. And graphically, you can tell that as far as the world goes, I think they've put a little bit more...
Most proper for supplies.
You can tell that they've put a lot more detail into the world graphics themselves. And then we're playing these anime characters. And they're not too distinct, right? Like you can't. That water, for instance, it does seem like it should be in a much higher resolution graphical kind of game, but it still fits. So it's not like we're these cartoon characters in this realistic world. No, no, no. I still think they mesh together pretty well.
Strike with certainty.
This is his ultimate. It looks fucking great. I mean, this guy looks awesome. Nice slide bullet spray there from Chixia. And then, of course, the skill from Xian here, changing into the beast. I mean, it looks great. He then goes on to solve a couple of puzzles, and then he comes across, which is something that I do want to point out. He does a time trial here. He turns into this little guy. He's got to collect these in a certain amount of time. And then just when finishing it, he comes across what looks to be like a main city right here on this river, like a harbor. Yeah. And that's essentially the 11 minutes of gameplay, but man, am I excited for it. I really do hope I get into the beta. Wuthering Waves. Let me in, right? Give me a code. Let's go. I want to fucking play. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked. It looks great. So if you guys like this video, you like this reaction, give it a thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below if you want me to go over some of the available characters on the official website. Any and everything, right? And I'll see you guys in the next video.